There's a type of person most of us know. Educated, articulate, capable. The kind of person who reads books, follows the markets, understands complex ideas, and can hold a conversation about economics, politics, and the state of the world. And yet, month after month, year after year, they are broke, not struggling temporarily, not between opportunities, chronically, persistently, inexplicably broke, and nobody around them can explain it. Because by every measure society uses to predict financial success, this person should be winning. There's a moment when you look at someone like that, someone brilliant, someone capable, and you realize something deeply uncomfortable. The measures are wrong. Intelligence, as we celebrate it, as we reward it in schools and institutions, has almost nothing to do with the ability to build wealth. They are not the same skill. They are not even related skills. They are completely different games, played on completely different boards with completely different rules. And most intelligent people spend their entire lives playing the wrong game exceptionally well. In the last step, we talked about minding your own business, how the wealthy build asset columns while everyone else optimizes income statements. Today, we go into something that explains why most people never make that shift, even when they understand it intellectually. Financial IQ, not intelligence, not education, not experience. A completely different kind of knowing, one that schools have never taught, one that the wealthy pass down quietly to the people closest to them, and one that you can build starting today regardless of where you are right now. Let's begin. Robert Kiyosaki defines financial intelligence not as knowing how to balance a checkbook, not as understanding compound interest in theory, not as being able to discuss the stock market at a dinner party. Financial intelligence is the ability to solve financial problems. That definition sounds deceptively simple. It is not. Because most people, when they encounter a financial problem, do one of two things. They ignore it, or they throw more work at it. They earn more to cover the problem. They cut spending to manage the problem. They restructure debt to delay the problem. But they never solve it, because solving it would require a kind of thinking they were never taught to do. Here is the distinction that changes everything. Intelligence helps you understand a problem. Financial intelligence helps you profit from it. Intelligence tells you the economy is struggling. Financial intelligence asks, what asset class performs well in this environment? And how do I position myself to benefit? Intelligence tells you interest rates are rising. Financial intelligence asks, what does this mean for real estate valuations, for bond prices, for the relative attractiveness of different investment vehicles? Intelligence consumes information. Financial intelligence converts information into decisions, into action, into results. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Most highly intelligent people are exceptional consumers of financial information. They read the articles. They follow the analysts. They understand the macroeconomic trends. And they do nothing with any of it. Because consuming information and acting on information require completely different mental frameworks. One is passive, the other is active. One feels safe, the other feels terrifying. And intelligence, by itself, does not bridge that gap. Financial intelligence does. Kiyosaki breaks financial intelligence into 4 distinct areas. Each one a door that either opens toward wealth or stays permanently closed, depending on whether you have developed what lies behind it. The first area is accounting. Not accounting as a profession, accounting as a language. And language, as we talked about in Step 5, is the mechanism by which reality becomes visible. Most people look at a financial statement and see numbers. The financially intelligent look at the same statement and see a story about where money is coming from, where it is going, what is growing, what is being quietly destroyed. And the story always contains the answer to the most important question in personal finance. Is this building wealth or consuming it? Here is what financial accounting literacy looks like in practice. The person without it looks at a business opportunity and asks, "Does this seem like a good idea?" The person with it asks completely different questions. What are the revenue streams? What are the fixed costs? What is the gross margin? What does the cash flow statement say about the actual health of this business versus what the income statement suggests? Same opportunity. Two completely different levels of perception. Two completely different probabilities of success. The doctor who cannot read a financial statement is not less intelligent than the accountant who can. They simply speak different languages. And in the financial world, accounting is the only language that matters. Everything else is noise. The second area is investing, not investing as a product to be purchased. Investing as a science, the science of making money generate money. And here is where most intelligent people make their most expensive mistake. They approach investing emotionally. They buy when they feel excited, which is usually when prices are highest. They sell when they feel afraid, which is usually when prices are lowest. They follow the crowd when the crowd is moving, which means they consistently buy high and sell low, which is the exact opposite of what building wealth requires. The financially intelligent approach investing analytically. Not cold, not robotic, analytically. They separate the feeling from the decision. They ask not, "Does this feel like a good investment?" They ask, "What is the intrinsic value of this asset? Is the current price above or below that value? What are the cash flow characteristics? What is my maximum downside, and can I absorb it without it affecting my overall strategy?" These are not genius-level questions. They require no special talent. They require a framework, a specific way of thinking about capital that most people were never given. And here is what that framework produces over time. The emotionally driven investor experiences the full volatility of the market, the euphoric highs, the devastating lows, the anxiety of not knowing whether to hold or sell at exactly the moment when the decision matters most. The financially intelligent investor experiences the same market through a completely different lens, not without emotion, but with a framework that sits between the emotion and the action. A framework that asks, has anything changed about the fundamental value of this asset? If not, the price movement is noise. If yes, what does the change mean for my investment thesis? That framework is worth more than any specific tip you will ever receive. The third area is understanding markets. Not markets as abstract economic concepts, markets as human systems. And this is where financial intelligence becomes almost philosophical. Because every market price is not a reflection of economic reality. It is a snapshot of collective human emotion at a specific moment in time. Fear, greed, hope, panic. These are not irrational forces that distort an otherwise logical market. These are the market. And collective human emotion is predictably irrational. It overshoots in both directions. It panics beyond reason. It celebrates beyond justification, and it always eventually corrects toward fundamental value. Warren Buffett did not build one of the greatest fortunes in human history through superior intelligence. He built it through superior emotional discipline, the ability to remain rational when everyone around him was not, to buy when others were selling in panic, to hold when others were desperate to exit, to sell when others were celebrating. Not because he is smarter, because he understood markets not as economic systems but as human systems. And human systems are readable if you know what you are reading. Here is what this looks like in practice. In 2008, when the financial crisis hit, most people watched their portfolios collapse and felt one thing: terror. And they sold at the bottom, locking in losses that took years to recover from. The financially intelligent looked at the same collapse and felt something different. Opportunity. The biggest sale on income-producing assets in a generation. Same event, completely different perception, completely different financial outcome over the following decade. Most people look at a market downturn and see disaster. The financially intelligent look at the same downturn and see a sale. Same world, different eyes, different results. The fourth area is the law. And this is the one most people dismiss entirely. Not because they disagree with it, but because it feels inaccessible. Like something only wealthy people with expensive lawyers can afford to understand. But here is what Kiyosaki understood that most people never do. The law was not written to be neutral. It was written to incentivize specific behaviors. Owning a business, investing in real estate, creating employment, deploying capital into productive assets. And every one of these behaviors is rewarded with deductions, credits, lower tax rates, and legal protections that employees have almost no access to. Here is the most concrete example. An employee earns $100,000. They pay taxes on $100,000. Then they live on what remains. A business owner earns $100,000. They spend on legitimate business expenses first: education, equipment, travel, home office. They invest. Then they pay taxes on whatever profit remains. Same gross income. Completely different tax reality. Not through fraud, not through loopholes, through the deliberate use of a system that was designed to reward exactly this behavior. Most people experience the tax code as something that happens to them. The financially intelligent experience it as a framework that, when understood, creates extraordinary advantages for those willing to learn its language. And here is the final insight that ties all four areas together. Financial IQ compounds. Academic intelligence is relatively fixed. You learn, you retain, you apply. But financial intelligence compounds. Understanding accounting makes your investing decisions better. Better investing decisions make your understanding of markets richer. Richer market understanding makes your legal strategies sharper. Sharper legal strategies make your accounting more powerful. It is a virtuous cycle that accelerates with every revolution. And the person who begins building financial IQ today, even starting from nothing, is beginning a compounding process that will look unrecognizable in 10 years. Here is your action for this week. Pick one of the four areas: accounting, investing, markets, law, just one. Commit to 30 minutes of deliberate study every single day for the next 30 days. Not passive consumption, not scrolling financial news. Deliberate study. A book on basic accounting. A biography of a great investor. A deep dive into how markets behaved during the 2008 crisis. An explanation of how corporations legally minimize taxes. 30 minutes, 30 days, one area. At the end of 30 days, you will understand that area better than 90% of the people around you. and that understanding will begin compounding from the moment you acquire it. That moment I mentioned. The moment you looked at someone brilliant, someone capable, someone who had done everything right, and realized they were still broke. Now you know why. They optimized for the wrong kind of intelligence. They played the wrong game exceptionally well. You do not have to make the same mistake. The 4 areas are learnable. The intelligence is buildable. And the compounding, once started, never stops. That moment, it's right now. In the next step, we'll talk about why the wealthy never let money sit still, how they make the same dollar work in multiple places simultaneously, and why most people's money is quietly dying in accounts that feel safe but aren't. If something shifted for you today, hit subscribe. Every week, one more idea that the wealthy already know, and the schools never taught you. Stay on the blueprint. See you in the next step.